What if I told you that by the time you turn 60, the world will no longer hold your hand? That your dreams of a close-knit family, of being surrounded by those you've cared for, might be nothing more than a fantasy? How would you prepare for this? There comes a moment in life when you realize a tough truth. No one is coming to save you. Not your children, not your spouse, not even society. After the age of 60, you are faced with a brutal question. What did you build when you had the time? The truth is, age is not kind. As you step into the later years of life, only the structures you've built remain. Health, discipline, financial independence, these pillars will either support you or leave you vulnerable. But it's not too late. Let's explore how these pillars can help you stand tall. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a brutal truth that whether we like it or not, we all must eventually face as we grow older. It creeps up on us like an uninvited guest, lurking silently in the shadows. After you reach 60, the reality is this: no one is coming to save you. Not your children, not your siblings, not your partner, and certainly not society. There's this naive belief that family will always be there, ready to catch you when you fall. But here's the truth. That belief is a fantasy. The reality is far harsher. It asks more from you than you could ever imagine. It doesn't care about your dreams of being together or how you envision your golden years. What it demands is far more critical. What did you build when you had time? Because at 60 and beyond, you are left with only 6 pillars. 6 pillars that you either built when you were younger, or they will crumble and leave you helpless in their absence. Let's talk about health, for example. Health is not a gift, it is earned. It doesn't just happen by accident. By the time you reach 60, it's the result of thousands of small sacrifices, of saying no to sugar and yes to movement, of rejecting excuses and embracing pain. Your back may hurt, your knees may protest, and your energy may start to betray you. But if you've built the discipline to keep moving, to stretch, to nourish your body, then and only then do you stand a chance. No one can do this for you. Not your doctor, not your spouse, not your children. Your body will either become your prison or it will be your last loyal servant. Many believe that when they retire, they will just want rest. But no, what they actually crave is meaning. You see, when you remove work, you create a void. And a void, my friends, is far more dangerous than you think. A routine doesn't just structure your day, it shapes your very psyche. Without structure, time dissolves into chaos. Days blur together, your identity fades, and before you know it, you're not living, you're just existing. That's why it's essential to wake up early, make your bed, read something that challenges you, take a walk, teach someone something new, and always move towards something every single day. Without a routine, you don't age, you rot. Let's be blunt here. Money can either give you freedom or it can give you chains. If you are relying on family to fund your survival, you are no longer free. You become dependent, you tiptoe around, ask for help, and shrink in your own life. Financial independence, even modest, is not just about survival. It's about preserving your dignity. You don't have to be rich. You just need enough so you're not a burden. And that means saving when it's hard, investing when it's boring, and preparing when everyone else is playing. It's a sad truth, but most people stop learning by 30. They coast, they repeat what they know, and fall into a routine of mediocrity. By the time they hit 60, that stagnation turns into decay. The mind is like a muscle, use it or lose it. Read books that challenge you, write down thoughts that make you uncomfortable, learn a new language, and explore ideas that stretch your understanding. And now, as we move forward, let's delve deeper into what it truly means to embrace these principles in our daily lives. As we discussed before, when you don't challenge yourself and embrace a disciplined lifestyle, you risk becoming predictable, bitter, and detached from the world around you. This is a harsh reality that hits as we age, and it becomes more apparent with each passing year. Your brain, however, doesn't seek comfort. It craves engagement, the kind of engagement that pushes boundaries and expands your horizons. Now, here's something that most people won't tell you: many of your relationships, as you grow older, become dead weight. After you hit 60, you no longer need more people. You need better people. The kind of people who don't just agree with everything you say, but challenge your thoughts, your beliefs, and your perspectives. People who will stand by you in silence, not just join you in laughter at a party. You need companions, not just acquaintances. So, it's time to cut out the energy, vampires the people who drain you without offering anything in return. This isn't just about having a busy social life, it's about building depth in your relationships over breadth. Because when hospital visits become routine and funerals become frequent, you'll begin to understand that you don't need a crowd of people around you. What you truly need is a companion, a steadfast friend who can weather the storm with you. Whether you call it faith, philosophy, or conscience, you must cultivate something in your core that cannot be shaken. Because when the noise of the world dies down and you're left sitting alone in the dark, you'll need to have an answer to these questions. Why are you here? What have you done that truly mattered? And, most importantly, can you face death with peace in your heart? Family is beautiful, yes, but it is not guaranteed. People die, people leave, people disappoint. And if, by the end of your life, you've relied entirely on the notion that others will always be there to hold you up, you will fall. But if you've built those 6 pillars: strength, resilience, self-sufficiency, discipline, wisdom, and purpose, you won't just stand. You'll stand tall, unwavering, even as the world around you fades. Health, too, is something you don't just receive. It's something you build layer by layer with every decision you make. After 60, the truth becomes painfully clear. If you didn't build it earlier, you don't get to keep it. Maintaining your health after 60 is not a matter of luck, genetics, or wishing. It comes from discipline, a raw, unglamorous, uncelebrated discipline that most people avoid throughout their lives. But here's the catch. The cost of avoiding discipline doesn't show up when you're 30. It doesn't knock on your door until you're 60 with interest. When you're younger, your body is resilient. You can abuse it, stay up late, binge on junk food, skip exercise, and somehow still get by. But that resilience is borrowed time. It's not infinite. Eventually, the debt collector comes knocking. One day, you wake up and realize that it hurts to get out of bed. Your back feels like it's talking to you. Your knees refuse to forgive you, and your energy is drained before noon. You may search around for someone to blame, but the truth stares back at you from the mirror. The pain you're feeling isn't a punishment, it's a consequence. And consequences don't care how you feel about them. So, what does true health discipline really mean? It means doing what's hard over and over again, without waiting for applause or recognition. It's getting up in the morning and moving your body, even when you'd rather stay in bed. It's taking care of yourself, not for the reward of others' praise, but because you know it's the only way to honor your body and soul. And with that, let's explore how this foundation of discipline and health sets the stage for the next chapter of our lives. As we continue from where we left off, it's clear that maintaining health isn't about feeling good in the moment. It's about making decisions not based on comfort, but on the long-term consequences of your actions. Health is not something you can negotiate with. It's about understanding that sugar might feel like love in the moment, but it quickly turns into inflammation. Skipping one workout may seem harmless at first, but it can easily lead to skipping 20 more. Sleep isn't a luxury. It's fuel for your body and mind. You stop treating your body like a partner that you can reason with, because it's not. It's a machine, a complex, intricate machine that requires maintenance, not sympathy. And here's the truth you must face. No one else is going to do it for you. Your doctor may care about your well-being, but no one will care more about it than you do. Your spouse might encourage you, but they can't be the ones to lift your legs or strengthen your core. Your children may worry about you, but they have their own lives to live. Your health, in the end, is your responsibility. And the moment you hand that responsibility over to someone else, you lose control. People often talk about the freedom retirement brings freedom to travel, to relax, to enjoy life without the constraints of work. But what good is that freedom if you're too tired to walk without pain, too sick to explore, or too dependent on pills and doctor appointments to enjoy spontaneous moments? Health is the true currency of freedom, and after 60, every day you don't invest in it, you lose more of it. There are those who resign themselves to the idea that decline is simply part of aging, but that's a lie. Aging is inevitable, yes, but weakness, frailty, and giving up are not. You see people in their 70s and even 80s doing yoga, hiking, lifting weights, and volunteering. Why? Because they never stopped. They built the right habits early on, and they continued to nurture them. It wasn't magic, and it wasn't easy. It was discipline. And speaking of discipline, let's talk about mental health. The body and mind are inextricably linked. You're not just fighting physical decay as you age, you're also battling hopelessness, anxiety, and cognitive decline. And guess what the first prescription for all of that is? Movement, nutrition, sleep, hydration, connection. These are the foundations of mental health, and they're all rooted in discipline. Discipline isn't just physical, it's psychological. It provides you with structure, identity, and a reason to get up and keep fighting. When you take care of your body, your mind will follow. When your routine is grounded in care and consistency, your soul finds a solid foundation. And here's the best part, it's never too late. Discipline doesn't care when you start, it only rewards consistency. You might not run marathons anymore, but you can walk every day. You may not lift weights like you used to, but you can still strengthen the areas that truly matter. You might not be able to undo decades of damage, but you can stop making it worse. You can rebuild trust with your body one small decision at a time. No one tells you this because no one wants to believe it. After 60, your health becomes a daily battle. If you avoid the fight, you lose. But if you engage, even though it may hurt and even though you might struggle, you still hold on to your power. You face the final decades of your life, not as a victim of time, but as a steward of what remains. And that is where your dignity lives in the fight, in the choice to take responsibility even when no one is watching. It's in the sweat, in the vegetables you don't feel like eating, and in the small decisions that, over time, transform you into someone who stands tall no matter what age you are. And with that, let's dive deeper into how this sense of responsibility and self-discipline can shape the way we approach the later years of our lives. As we've seen so far, maintaining health and discipline is a fight that doesn't stop when you hit 60. It's a commitment to yourself, a refusal to give up without a battle. This fight is woven into every decision you make, from the stretching that makes your knees ache to the walk around the block when you'd rather sit. It lives in every moment when you decide, this matters more than comfort. After 60, the world doesn't owe you vitality, but you can still earn it through discipline. Not the flashy, attention-grabbing kind of discipline, but the quiet, relentless kind. The kind that says, I will not give up this body without a fight. And this fight, day in and day out, is the foundation for every other pillar that comes after. Without health, nothing else stands for long. But as you move into these later years, there's a quiet enemy that starts to creep in. It's not always illness, it's not always loneliness, it's aimlessness. The days stretch out like blank pages, and without a structure to shape them, they slowly dissolve. You might think that what you really need is rest, that you've earned peace after all these years. Maybe you have. But the truth is, the soul doesn't thrive in endless comfort, it withers in it. What you really need is direction. When the obligations are gone, the job, the deadlines, the constant demands, you finally get what so many people spend their whole lives craving: time. But time without a plan isn't a blessing, it's a void. It's a slow descent into passivity. And if you don't fill that time with meaning, something else will. Boredom, distraction, regret. These are the silent invaders that creep in when you're not looking. You don't drift into fulfillment. You structure your way there. That's what a routine is. It's not just a schedule, it's a lifeline. Many people picture a routine as a cold, mechanical thing, a simple repetition of tasks or a checklist for the uninspired. But that's the wrong image. A proper routine is architecture for the soul. It's what keeps you standing when everything else feels uncertain. It gives rhythm to your days when chaos tries to creep in. Imagine waking up in the morning already knowing the first 3 things you'll do. That's power. That's control. And in the later chapters of life, control over your time becomes your final tool of resistance. Because make no mistake, chaos doesn't stop when you retire. In fact, it waits for you in the quiet, in the empty space where responsibility used to live. When you remove the structure of a job, of raising kids, of chasing goals, you're left with yourself. Just you. And that's the question that breaks people. Who are you without all those external demands? This is why some people fall apart the moment they stop working. They had no inner structure, just external pressure. That's why your routine after 60 must not just fill time, it must feed you. You wake up not because the alarm tells you to, but because your life is calling you. You start the day with something that matters. Maybe it's a walk. Maybe it's reading a sacred text. Maybe it's journaling, stretching, or simply drinking your coffee slowly while watching the morning light. But whatever it is, it must mean something. It must say, this day has purpose. And as we turn the page to the next chapter, let's explore how creating meaningful routines and embracing purpose can guide you through these later years with strength and clarity. As we continue exploring the importance of routine and structure in later life, we can see that purpose is the quiet, steady force that keeps us moving forward. I am not finished yet. That is the message routine sends each day in silent conversation between who you are now and who you want to become. Every day, you reinforce your values with action. Discipline in the morning, curiosity in the afternoon, reflection in the evening. It's not about living on a tight, rigid schedule. That's not the point. The point is to live deliberately, to understand why you do what you do. When you look at your day, you should be able to say, this is mine, I shaped this. Because if you don't shape your time, other forces will. Television will shape it. Social media will shape it. Indulgence, laziness, or numbness will take over. And slowly, without realizing it, you'll begin to feel a little heavier, a little slower, a little more detached from life. Until one day, you look back and realize that while you were alive, you weren't really living. It doesn't take grand goals to make a difference. You don't need to write a book, start a business, or climb mountains. But what you do need is rhythm, predictability, habits that give your brain a sense of order. The brain loves order. It thrives on patterns, especially as age starts to slow the body down. The mind craves anchors, and routine becomes those anchors. They tell your nervous system, you are safe, you are in control, you are still becoming. The danger of purposelessness is something many don't understand. It's not neutral, it corrodes. When you wake up with no purpose, go through the day with no direction, and end the evening with no reflection, you begin to disappear. You won't notice it at first, but slowly over time you'll start to fade. And by the time you realize it, it might be too late. But the beauty of it all is this: it's never truly too late. Not if you decide, not if you say, from now on, I own my day. That's the power of routine. It can be rebuilt at any age. And it doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be yours. Wake up at the same time every day, move your body, eat meals that nourish you, not just fill you. Read something that stretches your mind. Connect with someone. Create something. And end the day by acknowledging that you lived it well. Do this every day, not because someone told you to, but because you respect your time. You're not just passing time anymore, you're finishing your sculpture. You're becoming the final version of yourself. And the chisel in your hand is your daily routine. Use it wisely. Now, as we move forward, let's shift the focus to another crucial element of life. After 60, money. It's one of those topics people often shy away from in their later years, yet it lingers heavily in the background of every decision. After 60, money either brings you peace or it brings you anxiety. There's no middle ground, and understanding this distinction is essential. As we shift from the importance of routine to another crucial part of life after 60 financial independence, it's clear that money doesn't have to be about wealth. It's about having enough to keep the lights on, enough to get the medical care you need, enough to buy groceries without constantly searching for the cheapest label out of necessity. Financial independence is about having enough to stand on your own 2 feet, to say no thank you when someone offers help because you are self-sufficient. But here's the problem. Many people walk into their 60s with the mistaken belief that family will catch them, that their children will help, that someone somewhere will figure it out for them. This belief, however, is a trap. Not because your children are bad people or because your family doesn't love you, but because it is a heavy burden to place your survival on someone else's shoulders. And whether they admit it or not, that dependency changes the relationship. It's a shift that can never be undone. Dependency always changes the relationship. You don't want to be the person who becomes a cautionary tale, the one who didn't prepare. You don't want to be the person who has to make that awkward phone call when the rent is due, or when the car breaks down. Asking for help is not shameful, but living in constant need has a corrosive effect on your spirit. It makes you feel smaller. It erodes your confidence. And worst of all, it turns what should be your golden years into a slow grind of worry and calculation. Financial independence is self-respect in numerical form. It's the ability to say, I've handled my business. I've planned for this. It means you don't have to justify your choices to anyone. You don't need to apologize for needing a night to yourself, or for spending a little extra on your health, or for saying no to a family trip you can't afford because it's your money, and you know exactly where it's going. But the truth is, independence doesn't begin at retirement. It begins decades earlier with discipline, restraint, and uncomfortable decisions. It's about saving when you'd rather spend. It's about investing when you're not sure it'll work. It's about learning new skills, even when it feels like a waste of time. It's about building something meaningful when no one is clapping for you. It's not glamorous, it's not fun, but it's necessary. Because when the future arrives, and it always does, you'll either be prepared or you'll be exposed. The older you get, the fewer chances you'll have to fix the mistakes. It's like building a house. If you don't lay the foundation in your 30s, you can try in your 40s, but by your 60s, if you still don't have a roof over your head, the storm will come and there will be nowhere to hide. And speaking of storms, let's talk about emergencies. After 60, they come knocking more frequently. A hospital bill, a medication that isn't covered by insurance, a sudden home repair. These things don't ask if you're ready, they just show up. And when they do, your options shrink quickly if you don't have money set aside. That's when you start cutting corners, and that's when life starts to feel like it's slipping away. So, as we move forward, let's explore how you can protect yourself from these unforeseen storms and ensure that your foundation is strong enough to weather anything that comes your way. As we continue our conversation about financial independence, it's clear that it's more than just about protecting yourself from emergencies. It's about having the freedom to live life on your terms. Financial independence means the ability to choose how your day looks, to say no to people and situations that no longer serve you, and to explore hobbies, passions, and the opportunity to serve others. It's the freedom to live a life that still belongs to you. When your finances are in order, you become more powerful, not in a way that dominates others, but in a way that empowers you over yourself. You maintain your boundaries. You protect your time, your space, and your energy. Money is not just currency, it's protection, it's privacy. But if you find yourself lacking financial stability right now, don't worry. It's never too late to take steps toward improvement. Start by cutting excess spending, relearn the art of budgeting. Sell what you don't need. Find something in that can create even small amounts of income. The discipline to improve your financial life is one of the most empowering gifts you can give your future self. Because here's the truth. After 60, money becomes so much more than just a number. It becomes peace of mind. It becomes confidence. It becomes the barrier between you and helplessness. Family may love you. Friends may want to help, but you shouldn't have to depend on them for your survival, not if you can help it. Financial independence isn't greed. It's not selfishness. It's the highest form of personal responsibility. When everything else in life is uncertain, when the curveballs keep coming, and when your body starts to slow down, this financial pillar is the one that allows you to keep your head high and your hands steady. But there's another battle that begins quietly within you as you age. It's a war not often discussed in health books or magazines. It's not about your heart, your joints, or your memory. It's about your emotions. After 60, when the noise of life starts to fade and the roles you once played begin to slip away, those emotions you haven't dealt with begin to surface, like ghosts you never buried. And if you haven't learned how to regulate your emotions by now, they will start to own you. We live in a world that constantly tells you to express yourself, to be authentic, to feel your feelings. And yes, there's truth in that, but what it doesn't tell you is this: unregulated feelings will wreck your peace. It's not enough to just feel. You must learn to govern. Unchecked anger doesn't make you strong. It makes you lonely. Unmanaged grief doesn't deepen your soul. It leaves you hollow. And constant bitterness? It doesn't protect you. It poisons every room you walk into. After 60, your emotional patterns are like old stone. They've hardened. You've rehearsed your reactions for decades, and you know exactly how you'll respond to certain people, situations, and triggers. But here's the key. You can reshape those emotional reactions. You can choose to let go of the patterns that no longer serve you. And in doing so, you'll open the door to a deeper, more peaceful version of yourself. So, as we move forward, let's explore how emotional mastery can become the cornerstone of your strength as you move through the years. As we continue our conversation on emotional mastery, it's important to understand that without the ability to regulate our emotions, we fall into patterns that can easily imprison us. Certain words, certain situations, and if you've never interrupted those patterns, they can become a cage, a prison of your own making. You become the person who can't let go, the one still complaining about the past, the one who needs control over others because they've lost control over themselves. But let's be clear, that's not wisdom. That's emotional immaturity wrapped in age. Emotional regulation isn't about pretending. It's not about smiling through the pain or pretending to be calm when you're boiling inside. It's about strength. The kind of strength that says, I don't let my feelings run my life. I acknowledge them, but I don't blindly obey them. This kind of strength gives you presence. It gives you clarity. It allows you to walk into any room without needing everyone to walk on eggshells around you. And here's the hard truth. At this stage in life, emotional chaos becomes dangerous. Stress hits your body harder. Anxiety robs you of sleep. Rage isolates you. Depression drains the very will to live. And frankly, you can't afford that anymore. You can't keep using the excuse, "That's just how I am." No, that's how you've chosen to be. And if you want peace, real peace, the kind that lets you enjoy the quiet moments of your life, you need to learn how to respond, not just react. It all starts with self-awareness. You need to know your triggers not so you can avoid them forever, but so you can face them without collapsing under the pressure. You need to be able to tell the difference between sadness and self-pity, between anger and fear, between grief and guilt. And perhaps most importantly, you have to be brutally honest about what you've been carrying for decades. Unforgiveness, resentment, shame, these emotions don't just dissolve with time, they wait. And if you don't process them, they rot you from the inside out. That's why some of the most emotionally powerful people you'll ever meet are those who've done the inner work in silence. They're the ones who've sat with their pain, who've cried without needing an audience, who've learned how to tell their story without bleeding on everyone they meet. These are the people who don't walk around demanding sympathy. Instead, they walk around radiating a quiet calm. And that calm is earned. This kind of emotional discipline isn't for the weak, it takes practice. Every time you hold your tongue when you want to lash out, every time you take a deep breath instead of exploding, every time you choose to forgive a not because the other person deserves it, but because you deserve peace, that is emotional mastery. That's how you stop being a prisoner of your past. It doesn't mean you suppress everything. It means you own everything. And in doing so, you become free. As we move forward, let's explore how this emotional mastery can enhance the relationships we have with ourselves and others, allowing us to fully embrace the years ahead. As we've discussed, emotional mastery and self-awareness are key to navigating the later years of your life with clarity and grace. But there's another truth you must confront as you enter this stage: your body. After 60, it speaks louder than ever before. Every ache, every pain, every stiff joint is not a betrayal, but feedback, a reminder of how you've treated the vessel that has carried you through life. You see, when you're younger, you can get away with neglecting your body. You can eat poorly, skip workouts, and push through the exhaustion, always managing to bounce back. But aging doesn't let you ignore the consequences. After 60, the cost of that neglect starts to show up, slowly at first, but then all at once. It's not just about illness or injury, it's about losing independence. Because when you lose strength, when you lose mobility, you start needing help. First, it's a little help, then a lot more. That's when your life starts to shrink. People mistakenly think aging is simply about getting older. It's not. Aging is about losing control. Inch by inch, your legs weaken, your balance fades, and what once seemed like an insignificant obstacle like a staircase becomes a challenge. Getting up from a chair might become a struggle. You'll rely on others to carry your groceries, open jars, and drive you places. And if you're not careful, you'll begin to shrink your world to match your limitations. That's when people become invisible, not because the world stops seeing them, but because they stop reaching for it. But here's the thing. You don't have to let this happen to you. You have the power to preserve your independence, your strength, and your mobility by making intentional choices every single day. And it's not just about physical strength. It's about preserving your vitality, your energy, and your sense of purpose. The longer you maintain that, the more you will protect yourself from the slow creep of decline. As we move forward, let's look at how small, consistent actions can help you take back control of your health and your life, and how you can keep your world expansive and full of possibilities no matter your age. As we've explored, the connection between strength, health, and independence becomes clearer as we age. But it doesn't have to be a decline. Strength, true, literal, physical strength is one of the most underrated forms of freedom you will ever know. When you can carry your own bags, lift your own weight, and climb a flight of stairs without gasping for air, you're not just functional, you are sovereign. That sovereignty is what allows you to move through life with dignity. This isn't about vanity. It's not about achieving six-pack abs or running marathons. It's about capacity. Can you get out of bed without pain? Can you walk half a mile without your knees screaming for mercy? Can you pick something up off the floor without fearing you won't be able to get back up? That's what matters now. And the only way to protect that capacity is to train it. Yes, train. Because after 60, movement is medicine. Weight training isn't just for athletes, it's for anyone who wants to age with power. Resistance training, even if it's just using your own body weight, sends a powerful message to your muscles. We still need you. And while the response might be slow at first, it comes. Slowly, yes, but it comes. When your muscles respond, so do your joints, your bones, your posture, and your balance. It's all connected. And the same goes for what you eat. Food is no longer just a pleasure. It's your fuel, your medicine, and in many cases, it's the slowest form of self-destruction if you're not mindful. You need protein. You need hydration. You need to stop feeding your cravings and start nourishing your cells. Every bite you take either helps you stay strong or pulls you closer to decay. That's a hard truth, but at this stage of life, hard truths matter more than ever. And don't overlook sleep. Sleep isn't laziness, it's regeneration. When you sleep poorly, your body doesn't recover. Your mind becomes foggy, your motivation drops, and that sets off a vicious cycle. You feel tired, so you move less. You move less, so you feel weaker. You feel weaker, so you feel older than you are. That's how the spiral begins. But remember, that spiral is not inevitable. It's a choice. And so is the climb back up. No one's saying this will be easy. Starting a physical practice in your 60s or 70s won't be glamorous. You'll be sore. You'll feel awkward. You'll be tempted to quit. But the alternative? The alternative is frailty. It's passivity. It's becoming a spectator in your own life. If you care about your freedom, if you care about showing up for the people you love without being a burden, then you can't afford to opt out of your health. No one is coming to save your body. Doctors can prescribe pills, therapists can help your mind, but the only person who can move your body is you. Every walk you take, every rep you lift, every stretch you hold, it's a vote. A vote for life, a vote for agency, a vote for staying in the game instead of sitting on the sidelines. As we move forward, let's explore how these choices to strengthen our bodies, both physically and mentally, can help us continue to lead a full, meaningful life as we grow older. As we reflect on the importance of maintaining strength and health, we now shift to a deeper, more profound aspect of life. After 60, purpose. You don't have to be perfect, but you do have to participate. Show up for your health every single day, as if your future depends on it, because it does. And if you make this commitment, something incredible happens. You don't just grow stronger, you grow proud. Proud that you didn't give up on yourself. Proud that you honored the body that's carried you through joy, pain, and everything in between. After 60, strength becomes more than just physical, it becomes symbolic. It says, I'm still here. I'm still capable. I'm still becoming. There is nothing more powerful than a person who refuses to quietly succumb to decline, who chooses, instead, to rise slowly, even painfully, into strength. There's a moment in the quiet when the noise of careers, children, responsibilities, and reputation fades away, where you sit alone in silence and ask yourself, what now? That question isn't small. It doesn't come gently. It crashes in, because when your roles fall away, When you're no longer defined by what you do, you're left with the uncomfortable confrontation of who you really are. For many, this is the most unsettling revelation of all. Purpose isn't something that just falls into your lap when you're older. It's something you forge. And after 60, it becomes the final pillar that holds you upright, the foundation that keeps you grounded and moving forward. Here's the truth. The modern lie is that retirement is the reward, that freedom from work, from obligation, from the grind is the ultimate goal. But freedom without meaning is emptiness. At first, it feels nice. You sleep in, you relax, you putter around the house. The days seem longer but not fuller. For a while, it feels like a luxury. But then comes the drift, the subtle erosion of drive, a creeping thought that maybe you've already done everything that mattered. That thought is poison. It's not just about physical decay. It invites the decay of the spirit. Purpose is what gives structure to your energy. It tells you where to aim. It gives your suffering a reason. Without purpose, even the healthiest body becomes a cage. Even the most peaceful life starts to feel like a waiting room for death. You must choose to matter. And not in a grand, egotistical sense, but in a grounded, deeply personal way. Purpose at this stage isn't about conquering the world. It's about contributing to it. It's about recognizing that your wisdom, your experience, your pain, and your survival all have value. And if you don't share it, if you don't pass it on, it dies with you. That's the real tragedy. You don't have to start a nonprofit or write a book or give a TED Talk. Maybe your purpose is mentoring a young person. Maybe it's gardening with intention. Maybe it's volunteering, creating, building, serving. Purpose doesn't have to be grand, but it must be real. It has to challenge you. Because purpose without effort is just sentimentality, and sentimentality never moves us forward. And so, as we move forward, let's dive into how purpose can be the compass that guides us through the final decades of life, helping us live with meaning, intention, and fulfillment. As we've discussed, purpose is what shapes the later chapters of life, transforming the ordinary into something meaningful. It's important to remember that distraction shabbies, entertainment, busyness may provide temporary relief, but they won't sustain you. They don't fill the existential void that we all face. Only impact does that. And impact begins where self-pity ends. As long as you are looking backward, mourning what you've lost, replaying old regrets, and clinging to a version of yourself that no longer exists, you'll never step into the new role life is offering you. But life is offering you a new role, the role of the elder, the guide, the anchor, and to step into it, you have to earn it. You have to actively choose to step into it. This means continuing to learn, continuing to stretch yourself, and continuing to stay curious then when comfort whispers in your ear, urging you to settle down and shrink. Purpose is alive. It demands something from you. That's the deal. It will give you energy, but only if you put in the effort. And here's something that people rarely say aloud. Without purpose, you become difficult to be around. You become a shell person who only talks about the past, someone who drifts into bitterness, waiting for others to entertain you, rescue you, or validate you. But with purpose, you become magnetic, grounded. People want to be near you because you are becoming, not just existing. If you want to age with strength, you need a reason. If you want to wake up with vitality, you need to point your life at something bigger than your comfort, bigger than your fears, and bigger than your pain. That's what will carry you through the difficult days. That's what will make the sunsets feel earned. You have to believe deeply that your best contribution might still be ahead of you. Not in terms of status or achievement, but in terms of depth, integrity, and soul. That belief is not naive. It's absolutely necessary. It keeps the light in your eyes. It keeps your spine straight. It keeps your mind engaged with the world rather than retreating from it. So, ask yourself clearly and without flinching, what do I still have to give? Who still needs what I carry? What fires inside me still want to be lit? Answer those questions and you'll find your footing again. You'll stand taller. You'll move with intent, and you'll make this next season of your life not just a quiet conclusion, but a powerful culmination. Because without purpose, life after 60 becomes a process of mere maintenance. With purpose, it becomes a mission. And as we close this chapter, let's explore how you can take the next steps toward living with purpose and impact, and how you can ensure that the final years of your life are filled with the power and energy that only purpose can provide.